Good day everyone, my name is Margie Maynosan, one of the reporter of Chapter 3. So our topic is all about the issues in teaching social literacy. How children develop their social literacy. It's stated that it is intrinsically a contextual matter and it's not something that can be easily traced in a linear or developmental fashion. This means that the children will interact with each other through different activities before they will know what is sociability is all about. Kumbaga, mayroon itong progressivism which is learning by doing or learning through experience. So, there are two distinct ways of answering the question on how children learn to live socially with each other and with adults. So, one is the normative and communal. Second is a pragmative and individualistic. So first, let us know what is normative and communal. So normative and communal, so from their culture, children learn custom that provides them with a guide to act in a ways to minimize conflict. So it's because of their culture, the lifestyle they have become aware na naging instrument for them to engage less in conflict. So example is magalang. So in our culture, we are naturally polite using po and opo. So, when we say po and opo, it is one of the example on how emphasize to respect our elders. So, next is pragmative and individualistic. So, the social order of children is created by explicit and implicit agreement entered into by self-seeking individuals to avert the worst consequence of the self-instinct. So in pragmatic and individualistic naman, it emphasizes the moral work of the individual. So individualism involve the right in individual to freedom and self-realization. So, Dria is they will realize what the mistake they will do or they will know the consequence selfish instinct. So, the next reporters is Sedi Ardenio.
So, good afternoon everyone. I am Sedi C. Ardenio, the next reporter, and I will be continuing our topic for this afternoon. So now let's talk about subjective standards of morality. So, this can be seen in the current culture where actions and behavioral patterns that were once considered bad have now become acceptable. So much that many now consider them to be even good. When the standard of measure between good and bad changes, this gives us license to change as well and opens the gates to all kinds of abuse, pulls the rug to all attempts of true justice and equitable. So, ang konsepto ng katotohanan at tama ay depende sa opinyon at pag-unawa ng bawat individual. For example, na ang tama at paniniwala ni student A ay mali para kay student B and vice versa. So kapansin-pansin sa ating kultura ngayon na may mga kilos at pag-uugali na nooy tinitingnan o nakikita natin bilang masama at mali na ngayon katanggap-tanggap na bilang tama. So ang pagbabago pala ng pamantayan sa pagsusukat sa pagitan ng mabuti at masama ay nakaka-impluwensya sa pagbabago ng kilos at ng tao. Sa madaling salita, subjective standard of morality ay tumutukoy sa pagbabago ng pananaw o opinyon ng tao sa kung ano ang tama at mali. So let's proceed to the human nature. So, we would like to believe that people are inherently good, but experience taught us that inherent goodness of humanity is unreliable. We are quick to champion the cause of moral uprightness, justice, and equality, but balk when our words and actions come under their security. So, sinasabi na being good is part of our human nature. Likas na sa atin na maging mabait or mabuti. May mga kaganapan at pangyayari na yes, humanity is good. Marami sa atin na kusang tumutulong sa iba na walang hinihinging kapalit. Gayunpaman, mayroon pa ring taong pinipili nilang maging ignorant. Kumbaga, ang goodness within us ay parang switch ng ilaw. Sometimes is on, but also sometimes is off. We are quick to determine or to say what cause of uprightness, justice, and equity. But when it is about our own deeds and actions, we refuse to observe or to be observed in these standards. When someone did something, or he or she should be judged accordingly to the standards. Pero pag tayo na yung involved, tinatry nating i-justify yung actions natin. Nagiging subjective tayo. Ganun. Gusto natin na matreat tayo based sa ating needs, pero hindi natin ginagawa sa iba yun. So, that is human nature. Let's proceed to the situational awareness in the workplace. So, casual office attires has become the norm in many offices. Job interviews typically require more formal dresses and behavior to demonstrate a level of respect. Students need to be taught what is socially acceptable in terms of dress and behavior, them to stand out about their colleagues. So, ang ibig sabihin nito, ang pagiging maalam sa kasalukuyang sitwasyon sa trabaho, kagaya ng pagsuot ng casual na kasuotan, at kung ano-ano pa, ay naglalaman ng pag-unawa sa mga dynamics ng kapaligiran o pakikipag-ugnayan sa mga kasamahan sa trabaho at tamang pag-aksyon batay sa mga pangyayari. Ito ay nagpapahayag ng pagiging sensitibo sa pangangailangan ng iba at pagbibigay halaga sa ugnayan sa opisina. So, tinuturuan tayo bilang isang mag-aaral at maging isang manggagawang Pilipino sa hinaharap na maging maalam tayo sa ating kapaligiran, magkaroon ng respeto sa mga kasamahan, at maging epektibo sa anumang trabaho sa kanilang ginagampanan. Ito ay nagbibigay daan sa masusing pakikipag-ugnayan, pagkakaroon ng masusing pag-unawa sa trabaho, at pagpapakita ng liberato sa bawat sitwasyon. So that is situational awareness in the workplace. So next, let's proceed to the social intelligence in technological communication. So text speak and technology used have affected many young people's ability to communicate, but students still need to ensure their writings denotes respect and provides enough context for professors or future employers to easily respond. Reduce students' ability to communicate using correct grammar, and also learn more about formality of communication. So when we talk about social intelligence in technological communication, ito ay ang kakayahang maunawaan at may kaalaman sa paggamit ng teknolohiya at online. Ito ay naglalaman ng pag-unawa sa tamang paggamit ng social media upang matuto ng isang estudyante na bumuo ng tamang konteksto na maaaring makakatulong sa kanilang pag-aaral. Isa din dito ay ang pagkikipag-ugnayan ng may respeto sa online community. Like for example, sa atin ngayon, sa Messenger, doon din tayo magkakaroon ng communication sa Instagram, Twitter. Yun, yung mga social media sites or apps, ganun. So doon din tayo dapat maging respeto tayo sa mga kung sino yung mga kinakausap natin, lalo na yung mga for example, mga teacher natin, ganun. And also, if ever na maging isang future employers tayo, dapat tayo maging respetado sa ating mga boss, ganun. Ating mga kataas-taasan. At isa din dito ay ang kasanayang magbigay halaga sa kultura at etika ng technological na komunikasyon. Ito ay nagtuturo sa atin ng responsableng paggamit ng teknolohiya para sa masining, epektibo at makataong pakikipag-ugnayan sa iba. And lastly, we're going to talk about social intelligence in traditional communication. So while email has taken over as the primary method of communication, traditional modes still exist. Learning to properly write thank you card, cover, and business letter not only teaches students that these documents exist, but also show them how to craft such document, saving them energy in the future and the notes. So, alam naman natin na we are prone in technology and sometimes ginagamit na natin is email. Hindi pa rin mawawala yung traditional na communication na ginagawa natin, like pagpapadala ng sulat, ganun. Until now, yung mga teacher, tinuturuan na yung mga estudyante kung paano gumawa ng isang letter para naman maging para din hindi lang din letter, or kung paano din gumawa ng proper sentences at grammar sa isang specific na letter, like for example business letter or thank you card, ganun. So para sa atin din yun, kasi nakakabuti din yun sa atin para sa hinaharap, at magagamit talaga natin yun sa atin in the future. And that's all for today.